What happens when countries try to replicate the Filipino spirit but end up falling flat on their faces? From dominating global industries to showcasing unmatched hospitality, Filipinos set the gold standard. Yet many nations have tried and failed to capture that magic. Could it be that the Filipino edge is simply unmatchable? Stick around because number 2 and 5 will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about cultural uniqueness. 1. Vietnam. Vietnam's attempt to emulate the Philippines' success in exporting skilled nurses hit significant roadblocks due to language barriers and inconsistent training standards. Filipino nurses have long been recognized for their proficiency in English and their comprehensive training tailored for international certifications, allowing them to thrive in competitive global markets. In contrast, Vietnamese healthcare workers, although talented, struggle to compete because their language skills often fall short. Their domestic training programs aimed at meeting international standards frequently lack the rigor and consistency required. Moreover, Vietnam's lack of strong international partnerships and support systems for their healthcare workforce has left its nurses with limited opportunities abroad. While Filipino nurses dominate hospitals worldwide, earning top positions and respect, Vietnamese nurses remain confined to lower-paying jobs or face a struggle to land roles in key international markets. This disparity reveals the importance of not only training, but also the infrastructure and international recognition required to succeed in the global labor market. 2. Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's attempt to replicate the Filipino model of exporting domestic workers ended in exploitation and disappointment. Unlike the Philippines, which has long established robust bilateral agreements with host countries, Sri Lanka's workers faced severe vulnerabilities. The lack of comprehensive worker protection programs and weak government support made it easy for Sri Lankan workers to fall victim to unsafe working conditions abroad. Filipino workers benefit from strong legal protections and internationally recognized training programs that ensure their safety and well-being. However, Sri Lanka's efforts were marred by an insufficient legal framework and limited diplomatic negotiation power, exposing workers to abuse and exploitation. Without credible worker protections or quality training, Sri Lanka's dream of becoming a major exporter of domestic labor never fully materialized, and the gap between their efforts and the Filipino model remains glaring. 3. Myanmar. Myanmar's attempt to replicate the Philippines' dominance in the outsourcing industry faltered due to poor infrastructure and a lack of skilled labor. While the Philippines has positioned itself as a leader in the global outsourcing market, especially in call centers, Myanmar's ambition to join this industry was thwarted by unreliable internet infrastructure, inconsistent service delivery, and low English proficiency. Call centers require a neutral accent and fluent communication skills to effectively engage with international clients, and Myanmar's workforce struggled to meet these demands. Despite substantial investments in training programs, the country's call center industry failed to attract the same level of foreign investment and interest as the Philippines. In the end, Myanmar's efforts in outsourcing couldn't match the operational reliability and skilled labor force that the Philippines has long cultivated, showing just how difficult it is to replicate the Filipino success story in this sector. 4. Bangladesh. Bangladesh has attempted to replicate the Philippines' success in generating remittances through the export of labor, but it has faced a series of obstacles. While remittances form a significant part of Bangladesh's economy, the lack of a modernized banking system has made it difficult for workers to send money home efficiently. In contrast, the Philippines has a well-established remittance infrastructure that allows for seamless transfers worldwide. Additionally, Bangladesh has failed to develop sufficient training programs to meet the demands of global labor markets. The Philippines' ability to provide specialized training and certifications for its workers ensures their global competitiveness. However, Bangladesh's workforce is often underprepared and lacks the global recognition that Filipino workers enjoy. Without the right infrastructure, training, and international connections, Bangladesh has struggled to replicate the Philippines' success in labor export and remittance generation. 5. India's attempt to break into the cruise industry by training workers for hospitality roles inspired by Filipino success faltered due to cultural and linguistic challenges. Filipino workers are renowned for their excellent customer service, cultural adaptability, and English proficiency. All key qualities that make them the preferred choice in the hospitality industry on luxury cruise ships. India, despite having a large pool of workers, faced difficulties in preparing its labor force for this highly specialized sector. Language barriers and cultural differences in service delivery hindered their ability to meet the rigorous standards set by international cruise companies. Additionally, India's training programs lacked the focus on international service expectations that Filipino programs emphasize. Without the ability to offer the same level of excellence, adaptability, and fluency, India's cruise industry ambitions foundered, leaving Filipino workers as the uncontested leaders in this global market. 6. Nepal. Nepal's attempt to prepare its workforce for international jobs in line with the Filipino model was met with mixed results. Despite a large number of Nepali workers going abroad, many of them remain underqualified due to the absence of technical schools and standardized certifications. The Philippines excels in preparing its workforce for specialized roles through highly structured training programs, which ensure that Filipino workers are highly competitive in international markets. In contrast, Nepal's lack of these systems means that Nepali workers often miss out on higher-paying opportunities and are relegated to low-wage jobs. The absence of internationally recognized credentials undermines Nepal's competitiveness and makes it difficult for workers to find employment in industries where certification is a key requirement. The failure to establish a structured, comprehensive training framework has made it challenging for Nepal to replicate the Filipino model of labor export success. 7. Indonesia. Indonesia's attempt to replicate the Philippines' success in the maritime industry failed to gain traction due to poor language skills and mismatched safety standards. Filipino seafarers are renowned for their expertise, high standards of safety training, and proficiency in English, which make them highly sought after in the global maritime industry. However, Indonesia's maritime programs often fall short of international expectations. Their workers, despite being hard-working, often lack the English proficiency required to communicate effectively on international vessels, and their safety training programs are not aligned with global maritime regulations. The Philippines has long had a competitive edge in producing seafarers who meet the high standards of international shipping companies, whereas Indonesia's maritime sector remains underdeveloped, leaving their workers with fewer opportunities to thrive on the global stage. 8. Thailand. Thailand's attempt to replicate the Philippines' success in the global hospitality and tourism sectors has faced challenges due to its workforce's lack of adaptability and English proficiency. Filipino workers are known for their exceptional service and adaptability, particularly in the tourism and hospitality sectors, which require cultural sensitivity and strong communication skills. In contrast, Thai workers, while skilled, struggle with English proficiency and flexibility when it comes to international hospitality standards. Training programs in Thailand also do not align closely with global expectations, which limits the ability of Thai workers to thrive abroad. As a result, despite Thailand's beautiful culture and growing tourism industry, its workforce has not been able to fully compete with Filipino hospitality workers in global markets. 9. Pakistan. Pakistan's attempts to export workers in construction and caregiving sectors, inspired by the Philippines, have struggled due to a lack of sufficient training programs and English proficiency. Filipino workers are renowned for their high-quality training and certifications, which ensure they meet international standards and have a competitive edge in the labor market. However, Pakistan has been unable to establish the same level of rigorous training programs or certification systems. Without the necessary qualifications and skills, Pakistani workers often fail to compete with their Filipino counterparts in industries like caregiving and construction, where high standards are essential. This disparity highlights the importance of robust training and education systems in ensuring that workers can succeed in global markets. 10. Kenya's attempt to replicate the Filipino model of outsourcing and skilled labor export faced significant hurdles due to unreliable infrastructure and inadequate training programs. While the Philippines has built a global reputation for its efficient call centers and skilled workforce, Kenya's efforts in outsourcing were hindered by poor infrastructure and a lack of necessary training. Filipino workers are sought after for their high level of skill, efficiency, and fluency in English, making them leaders in the outsourcing sector. However, Kenya's call center efforts were hampered by inconsistent internet access, a lack of qualified workers, and insufficient training programs. Without the right infrastructure and workforce preparation, Kenya's efforts to replicate the Filipino outsourcing success failed to gain the same level of traction, leaving them far behind in the global race for outsourcing jobs. These attempts to replicate the Filipino success story highlight the unique qualities that set Filipinos apart: skills, adaptability, and a deep-rooted sense of service that others struggle to replicate. If these insights have inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with friends. What do you think makes the Filipino spirit so unique? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.